let's get to that tornado situation right here in Coventry this afternoon, where it touched down just after 4 o'clock this morning. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mike Savino, he's been in Coventry all day right now. He's joining us more on what happened there. Mike, what are you seeing? Any damage?
Well, Mark, it's really interesting. If you drive around town, you know, the tornado, it only touched down briefly a couple of times. You just heard Mark talk about the narrow path that it had. So if you much across town, you wouldn't even know that there was a tornado, just a really strong storm this morning. But then you come to a place like this. I'm at the David Hayes sculpture fields here in Coventry, and I'm stepping out of the way so you can see down this path. They had they estimate a dozen trees came down, another dozen large limbs came down. We're in the general area of where the National Weather Service says one of those touchdowns happened, and there's a lot of damage. They have about 200 sculptures here on this 50-acre property. They estimate at least a quarter of those were knocked over as well, and yet just to the front of the property, you wouldn't even know that there was a storm here, a tornado here, just some maybe branches down, and that's it. So it's like this all over town. We talked with some neighbors at the other site over on Flanders Road, and they told us the same thing. A portion of Flanders Road was shut down for much of the day, but then other neighbors saw very little damage. Of course, they also told us that conditions were pretty scary at around 4 a.m.
You always look out after a storm and you walk around the backyard. It wasn't until I came down to the fields and the trails that I saw the impact of it.
I looked at my security cameras this morning, and it was pouring, and the wind was blowing from this direction that way. And it was just coming down in buckets.
Now, here at the sculpture fields, they say that they were actually starting to see more business because of COVID. Obviously, we're outside. It's a family-friendly thing to do. They were starting to see more visitors. Now they're going to have to shut down for a couple of weeks to clean up down that trail. It's not safe walking through there. We'll have more on their story and the cleanup ahead coming up on Eyewitness News at 5. For now, live from Coventry, Mike Savino, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Mike, thankfully no one was hurt there.